return to control. And before things get too hectic, too wild, oh, we can't do that yet. I want to.
We're on the right track.
Okay, so that is the way we're supposed to go. But before we do that, so I have had to. I think we already did this one. Right? Yeah. Yes, we did this last time. Okay. I have a wedding that I'm leaving for in a couple of days, and unfortunately, the rental pants I got don't fit. So, what does that mean? That means that I've been trying to get them to fit, and that means unhealthy weight loss. I know it's very unhealthy. As somebody who's studied physical, who's worked with physical therapists, who's talked to doctors on detailed levels, studied personal training for a bit, and has somewhat of a background in nutrition as well. I know what I'm doing is very unhealthy. Of only, it's threshold kids, of only eating 1,200 calories a day and burning on average 3,800 calories a day. You don't have to tell me it's unhealthy. I know it is. Don't replicate this. I'm only doing it for a few days, but if my energy is all over the place or I'm getting lost in my words, that's why. Yeah, so I don't know if it's just me or anyone else feels this, but that with the style of the Threshold Kids, I mean, I know what it is, but it reminds me very much of the cult that had the show, Life with Grandpa. Again, I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about, but Nexpo, who does a lot of like those like really creepy history videos, he has talked about it. So if you're interested in learning what I'm talking about, check out his channel. There's probably other people that have done it as well, but that's how I learned about it. And yeah, it's always unsettling watching that stuff, which again I know is the intention. I don't know if that was ever a reference. I highly doubt it. Although, I mean, it's probably just more for, like, older, TV series that kids watch. Because I'm pretty sure that stuff, like, not, Life with Grandpa. But, like, I think overall, like, that's kind of the same era as, like, Bozo the Clown in the style, I would say. Again, I could be wrong. I don't know if there's anyone who has an older demographic, either because you grew up with parents or grandparents that made you watch that stuff, or if you're just an older person and you somehow discovered my channel, hi. If there's like anything that kind of reminds you of that, I'd be interested in hearing about it. We got anything going on in... Well, we broke the toilet, so if anyone needed to use the bathroom, which again seems unlikely, also I wanted to have my blinds open and get me some sun. Can barely see what's going on the screen, so there we go. I can actually see now. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. So, ooh, look at this. We get like a nice little treasure for doing some exploring. some materials. And oh, well, he's dead. Can't go that way. I'm just trying to remember if there is the safe here, which I want to crack open now. And we get some materials for it, which again, I know I mentioned before, but I'm still really... I know FBC Firebreak wasn't the greatest game. I can say that because I played it and I tried to enjoy it. Some things were worse than others, but...
Object of power. Something has latched onto it. We need to target it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they still pull from the universe as much as they did. Because I think it would have been very easy to just be like, hey, we're going to do our own thing. Especially because it wasn't Sam Lake and the core team that worked on it, at least as far as my knowledge goes. How am I getting... Oh. Is it just... Shatter projectile choke? What? Okay. Oh, it's exclusive to Shatter. Any better personal mods? We would want a health, but this is 25. So for now, we're not going to do that. Again, I have thoughts of how I would handle that type of project or that type of game. Although, again, I am, compared to Remedy, a nobody. Although I think a handful of things you need to do. One, I don't know if limiting it to 3 classes and 3 players was the right option. Off the top of my head, do I know of what a good 4th option would be? Not really, but people typically like to play in 4s. Not to say that 3 is a bad number. There's probably a decent amount of friend groups that are only 3 people. I mean, I was able to get 3 people, and that was a little bit of a struggle, so maybe 4 players worked better. I would have had more content also straight from the getaway, being more guns and more low, because like they only had like 5 at the beginning. I would have tried to shoot for 6 in the beginning and maybe doing like 3 through like season passes or something versus just getting 1. More guns, stuff like that. Cosmetics are easy, simple, and I also would try to vary the Taken a bit more, or the Hiss a bit more, just because like I think it's just kind of there, but it's not anything super crazy. But that's just my quick thing. That's no notes, no intense research on it, or intense thoughts, so...
It's harder to hear you when I'm here. It's like the channel's been changed. The board's in charge here. They're Pyramid and Bureau Seal. Are they really the ones pulling the strings? I'm not their director. I'm no one's director.
I'm also glad that I am not coughing all the time. That, for the most part, has gone away. I'm not going to say it's been perfect, but it is definitely a lot better than where it was when I was recording last time. And again, apologies for starting off on that rough foot. Doop. Oh, we have to do one of the yellow bellies. Okay. So let's do some parkour and get over to our next objective, which... See, look, we didn't even have to launch it right away. That's how good we are with telekinesis. Are people a fan of telekinesis? I know there's a lot of mediums that use it, and I feel like sometimes it's overplayed, but sometimes like it makes sense for what is being attempted. Because like the big one I always think of is Star Wars, because the Force is basically telekinesis, but different name. Granted, it can do a bit more than just standard telekinesis, which I like. Because usually telekinesis is just movement of objects. Even like the choke is something that's a bit more unique. Granted, I know George, when he was making Star Wars, had a lot of references that he was pulling from, which I respect, because I know, especially nowadays, like when you have like a mishmash of different references, sometimes it doesn't look that good. And before people be like, oh yeah, he had a whole bunch of help, I know that. I don't ever think it's a bad thing for a creative to have support working on stuff, because I think we've seen a handful of creatives where they have good ideas, but the refinement is where they struggle with. Like, I'm not gonna pretend here that like George Lucas was great with dialogue, but
There you are. You were gone. Cut off.
Okay, so now we got this.
Just like you wanted, right? This will help me fight the hiss.
So, like, that's why the prequel trilogy wasn't great. Not to say, I mean, I don't know when the Avatar stuff is coming out. Spoilers, I recorded some Avatar stuff. I think this is going to be well after the Avatar stuff comes out. So you'll eventually see what I talk about with Star Wars with my co-host for Avatar. Spoilers, it's also a multiplayer game, which is a big reason why I don't know when it's coming out, because I have multiple multiplayer games as of right now that are sitting in the chamber, and it's just a lot of editing that I need to do, because a lot of people like using my real name, even though I have very kindly and multiple times have asked people not to do that, because one, I do plan on changing my name, and two, I just don't like my name that much. Like three. I like that anonymity. I like being fairly anonymous and not having stuff be directly reflective of me, and keeping that just overall boundary. That's a personal preference. I know some people, they'll be on camera presences using their real name. I know back in the day, people would even, like, I mainly can reference the creatures for this, but, like, there's probably other ones that do it too, where they'll do, they'll have, like, a P.O. box where you can send them stuff. Again, something I wouldn't want to do. I like being able to, like, it's why I never got into acting, although I'm very okay with going to voice acting, although that's still kind of changing now, because voice acting, it seems to slowly dying, because a lot of shitty companies like Illumination would rather have an untalented voice actor like Chris Pratt play Mario than somebody who can actually do, like, even a remote Italian accent, which, again, you could have gone way cheaper, gotten somebody who did a way better job, at the sake of star power, because not a lot of people are coming because it's Chris Pratt, they're coming because it's Mario. Big rant for another time. But yeah, because at the end of the day, like, walking down the street, I wouldn't want to be constantly harassed, especially because, like, I think I've talked about wanting to be a voice actor in other videos, and you've heard me do light accents all around, and I would definitely want to be someone who is more accent oriented than not. So then, if I go anywhere, I can still be me and not immediately be swarmed, because, again, I like my privacy. I'm an introvert. I don't like people hounding me about stuff. So yeah, I don't think my personality type is meant for it, which is fine. Like, not everyone needs to be the center of attention or anything like that, even though I do YouTube, and I'm working in a team environment where I very much have to be not the center of attention. I think that's the wrong way, but, like, somebody who has to be involved in all the conversations and be a very communicative person. That is a requirement for me, but that's not something I would. It was never a dream of mine to be in charge of a studio. It just was kind of a byproduct of where we were, who we had on the team at the time, and a whole bunch of other factors that I may not actually be super aware of, even though I've tried to do a little bit of digging into it, but not enough to get myself in the wrong mindset about things. Plus, I just don't have that ego, honestly. Although you can argue, like, if you're a YouTuber, you need to have some level of ego. Just because you have to be aware that, I'm making content, people should watch me, I have to advertise, all that other shit. But you guys can tell by my low editing style, by the fact I don't really prioritize this that much. Like, in the grand scheme of things, I have the gym, I have my project, I have friends, my dog, stuff like that. And if I ever have to, I also want to get back into studying project management, but that seems so far away. But hopefully, with some of the changes I've been working on, something I can start reinvesting my time into, because I would like to have a safer career and a more enjoyable career than or job, not career. Career is video games. Job than what I have right now. And so, I mean, I never tell people, like, oh, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share with all your friends. Like, I don't do that shit. I don't really care. This is something that I do as a fun outlet that also lets me reflect in case I do ever have another project that I would want to reflect on. Where, like, if I wanted to, let's say, hypothetically, make a game based on demons and devils, where I've recorded Doom, I've recorded Agony, so I can like go back and look at those references and be like, yes, we want this kind of creature design, or we want to make sure that this type of mechanic is not in the game, so on and so forth. I think this will kill me. Yes. So we're not gonna fuck with it. And it's like a cool way to like hang out with friends in case we don't want to do something, or in case we are not. Because for me, with my current job, I know I talk about the same 5 things, but I'm not the most fascinating person. Again, something I'm aware of. So I don't, like I said, I don't try to force things, and I don't try to fake things, and I don't go out of my way to be somebody I'm not. It's just, there's no interest for me there. And so I understand that, again, I'm not for everybody. I'm probably going to hit a cap, which I kind of already have when it comes to subs. Okay, so that's just not doing anything. So, yeah, with that, again, I kind of know who I am and who I'm not. And I've talked to my project manager and a couple other people on the team where I'm very much, I've hit the point already in my career as a game designer and game developer, especially somebody who hit a lead status so fast and now basically owns a team once we have everything established. But I have the ego of, if we work on a project and I'm somebody who's not fit to lead because of like the project that is being mentioned, like perfect example, if we were to run like a Souls-like game, I mean, could I help with narrative? Maybe, but also if we had somebody who had a clear idea of narrative and they're like, hey, I don't want you in that role, I'm not going to get hurt by it. I'm not going to get offended by it. Like, I know that at some point there's probably going to be projects that I work on and they're just not going to be for me, and I'm not going to be the strength of the team, and I'll have to do another role, or if that means just checking in on like status updates and stuff like that, and going ahead and like writing checks, like that's something I'm okay with doing. I don't have to be involved from a creative director standpoint for every single project. Like even if I just like went down to like a producer role, which for me is a lot of like, again, project management, which is one of the reasons why I'm studying that, so I can help with that. But also communication, that's something I'm really big on with my team, and just in general, like in day-to-day life, if I hang out with people and they can't communicate with me about like things that I need to know, like this wedding where the plans have changed and the groom, so perfect example, the groom told me when this wedding was first being announced, oh yeah, we're gonna be flying out to this place, you and I are gonna be staying in a room together. All right, cool, that's fine. And then a couple of days ago, he's like, because he's like, all right, I'm going to pick you up on Saturday and we're going to drive overnight Sunday. I'm like, what the fuck? That's not what you said. He's like, no, that is what I said. And I have a better memory than him. And it's one of those things where it's like, you need to tell me what's going on so I can properly prepare. Because like I basically yelled at him. I'm like, I have work on Saturday and I am in a job right now where if something happens, like if if anything happens, I can't leave early just because of that. Like, if we have something happen at our store closes at 9 o'clock, if I have something that happens at 8:50 and I have to stay an extra 45 minutes, I can't tell anyone like, hey, I need to leave. Like, no, I have to kind of take it on the chin and wait up until I'm allowed to leave. So, like, I can communicate that pretty quickly and pretty efficiently, but a lot of other people can't, and it's like, you need to learn to communicate. It's such a big pet peeve of mine. And it's really funny. One of the reasons why I became a good communicator, I wouldn't say I'm like a super communicator. I'm still learning how to adapt to people's styles. But one of the big things for me is I used to be actually a horrible communicator. I would like rarely look at my phone when people were trying to text me and get a hold of me. And I had a friend in high school call me out on it, and she's like, "You are horrible to get hold of. You're so hard to get hold of. Like, you need to start being better at this." And I'm somebody where, if I get feedback that seems reasonable and something I can implement, I usually try to turn that into a positive down the line. And now it's the opposite way, where she has told me now, she's like, "Yeah, I'm not that great of a communicator anymore. I like being by myself." I'm like, I respect that, but especially for what I want to do and what role I'm in, I can't really afford not communicating.
They can fly now.
They can fly now.
Great.
Oh man, shout out to the worst Star Wars movie. Well, I don't know if that's true. Both Episode 8 and Episode 9 are incredibly bad, but they're bad for different reasons. Okay, let's see if we can. I remember this being such a pain in the ass because of shit like that. The first time I played, so I might run into the same issues. But that is besides the point right now.